So to give a little bit of a taste, we're gonna play Kendrick Lamar's Humble. We're gonna be listening to the mix first that was mixed by Derek Ali. There's some compression on this mix. I can tell by the levels. So I'm not adding any from the get-go yet. I like to listen to it through first, just to see what's happening, what the vibe is, and then what I can do to help get it a little bit cleaner, a little bit louder, obviously, and some clarity in there. So we'll be hearing the mix first.
Nobody pray for me. It been a day for me. Yeah, yeah. Hey, I remember syrup sandwiches and crime allowances. Finesse a nigga with some counterfeits, but now I'm counting this. Parmesan with my accountant lips. In fact, I'm down in this. You say with my boo babe tastes like Kool-Aid for the analyst. Girl, I can buy your Westie world.
So my first impression on this is that, you know, the low end is there. It's nice and full. Doesn't really need any more addition to it. But where Kendrick's vocals are, and having worked with him before, I try and give him a little bit of a boost at the lower end of his vocal range, but not get up top at the top end EQs of where his vocals are, just to give a little bit more energy and presence in that mid-range. So first, this was the mix, and now I'm gonna switch over through the console and bring the levels up.
Sit down. Be humble. Bitch, sit down.
Where I'm gonna be competitively loud.
Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Bitch, sit down. Be humble.
And with Kendrick on this song, I grabbed some 800,
Get the fuck off my
a
stage.
little 1.6, just to get that mid-range, a little bit more life and a little bit more energy in there. After that, the low end, as big and full as it is, just a little bit of control by backing off on kind of a shelf EQ at around 40, just a half a dB. And then one of my favorite little tricks is to throw some really high top end air in there. It's another shelf EQ. It's around 24K. I got about 4 dB of it. It allows the top end of the mix to open up without grabbing vocals or hats or snares and really adding anything to that. And then we end up here.
Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Bitch, sit down. Be humble. Sit down.
So I'll go back to the mix so you can hear the mix prior to the mastering. Start this track again. And you'll hear me A-B between the two so you can hear the mix versus the mastered.
Nobody pray for me. It been a day for me. Yeah, yeah. Hey, I remember syrup sandwiches and crime allowances. Finesse a nigga with some counterfeits, but now I'm counting this. Parmesan with my accountant lips. In fact, I'm down in this. You say with my boo babe tastes like Kool-Aid for the analyst. Girl, I can buy your Westie world with my base stuff. Ooh, that pussy good. Once you sit it on my taste buds, I get way too petty once you let me do the extras. Pull up on your block, then break it down. We playing Tetris. AM to the PM, PM to the AM phone. Piss out your per diem, you just gotta hate them phone. If I quit your BM, I still rock Mercedes phone. If I quit this season, I still be the greatest funk. My left stroke just went viral. Right stroke, put a baby in the.
So in the end, the goal isn't to change dramatically what they've submitted. Ali's a great mixer, so I'm just trying to get the level up where they've trusted me to get it there tastefully, adding that mid-range to give it that brightness, and just controlling a little bit of the bottom end. It's still there, it's still full, it's just not overpowering. Again, trying to to remember that this is going to be played on a wide variety of systems, whether it's your earbuds, some Beats headphones, a car stereo, top-end audio system. I really need it to be able to respond everywhere. So this is the mix by itself.
Nobody pray for me. It been a day for me. Yeah, yeah. Hey, I remember syrup sandwiches and crime allowances. Finesse a nigga with some counterfeits, but now I'm counting this. Parmesan with my accountant lips. In fact, I'm down in this. You say with my boo babe tastes like Kool-Aid for the analyst. Girl, I can buy your Westie world with my base stuff. Ooh, that pussy good. Once you sit it on my taste buds, I get way too petty once you let me do the extras. Pull up on your block, then break it down. We playing Tetris. AM to the PM, PM to the AM phone. Piss out your per diem, you just gotta hate them funk. If I quit your BM, I still rock Mercedes funk. If I quit this season, I still be the greatest funk.
So finally, I'm trying to keep Kendrick competitive with everybody else in that genre, and a lot of that is just years of experience and knowing how far I can push my console, my equipment. Kendrick might not be as hot as certain things, but for the style and the way it was mixed, I get it as hot as I can as soon as I hear it crapping out. If it sounds smeary, if it sounds like it's pushed too hard, I'm backing down in half dB increments. And then every track after that, throughout the album, you're trying to maintain this equilibrium volume-wise between each track. A lot of it is just years of experience. I don't really read meters other than my VU meters and my ears. I don't then process it to see where, kind of the average level is. And I find that it's competitive to everything I've done for him or other artists that he's competing with, just on a side-by-side A/Bing between the two. Knowing what your overall level of the end product is, I think you benefit from working in one studio. I've been in this studio for 25 years. I've trained my ears to this room, this board, these speakers over that amount of time. So in the mix world, you're sometimes traveling from studio to studio, doing things in the box, doing things on headphones, doing things on a board, doing things, there's more variety of facilities that you have to get your ears accommodated to, whereas I have the benefit of working in one room day in, day out. So I know these speakers as well as anybody in here. And I think that helps as well as far as the end product and knowing how hot the entire project should be, making sure everything stays cohesive. Working with Kendrick is a blessing for me because I get to see more of the process than your typical sessions. Over the past couple albums, they've kind of fed me a single ahead of time. I think I got Humble before the rest of Damn. I got I before the rest of To Pimp a Butterfly. And I think that the single kind of sets, at least for me, sets the pace and what I'm going for the rest of the album. The great thing about Kendrick, Soundwave, Ali, that whole team is Kendrick's here. Kendrick shows up at his mastering sessions and stays through his whole mastering sessions. And one of the beautiful things is he takes chances up to the last minute, whether it be turning up a vocal, turning up a word, changing edits, segues. He's really hands-on, and I think it shows in his work. It's a privilege to be witness to it. It's long hours, it's long weekends, it's working, starting at midnight, going till 7 a.m. because that's the workflow. And it's hard as the mastering engineer to look at mix engineers, artists, and producers who've been up for 3 days, and me wanting to tell them that it's a 10 to 6 gig. That's not what mastering is when you want to work with people at this level. And Kendrick is an artist with something to say and has control and input from the beginning to the very last minute before we deliver masters. And it's a beautiful thing to see. They're really attention to detail oriented folks, and it shows.